Hi viewers, today I will take the interview for whoever with the 2 to 3+ years of experience in software testing. I will take the interview. His name is Suresh. You will connect with Suresh. Hi Suresh, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, once you introduce yourself, Suresh.
Sure. So as you know, my name is Sresh. My complete name is Sresh Trivastav. I'm from Mumbai. I have overall 6.5 years of experience in the IT industry with 3+ years of experience in the testing domain. About my graduation, I have done BE from IT stream and I have done in year 2014. And about my passion, I am very much passionate about the sports. I do love watching comedy series.
Okay, at present, where you are working, Suresh?
Currently, I'm working in Wipro as a test engineer.
Okay, okay. Can I ask some questions on software testing?
Sure.
Okay. So why we are using the regression testing?
We are using the regression testing to make sure that any of the defect which we have resolved is not creating any side effect on the other part, on the other module.
Okay, how many types of regression testing are there?
There can be full regression testing. They can be part for the some part for the module, and for the some part for the complete regression. There are basically 3 types of regression testing.
Okay, what are they?
One is the complete regression. One is that one is a component integration. One is some integration component regression. One is the module integration regression, and one is the complete regression.
Okay. So, what is the difference between the retesting and the regression testing?
Retesting, we are just checking only the failed test case again with the same input, whether it's working or not. While in the regression testing, we are checking all the other test cases which are associated with the failed test cases.
Okay. Can you explain about that exploratory testing?
Okay, so exploratory testing is something that is done on the without any documentation, without any planning, just as from the user's point of perspective. We are working and we are checking the application, and mostly that is done by getting the experience on the domain. If you're experienced in working on the domain, you can do that testing with using your experience.
Okay. Do you have any experience on that standalone applications?
Sorry, in
standalone applications?
No, standalone application didn't work. I have worked for the web application.
Web application. What is the difference between the web application and the standalone applications?
For the web application, you need internet connection. It works with internet if you require a network connectivity. But for the standalone, it doesn't require. It works with the operating system.
Okay, cool. So, what is the difference between the sanity testing and unit testing?
Sanity testing and the unit testing. Okay, so unit testing is just checking each component individually, while the sanity testing is like when the product is already stable and any new features been added. So we are just checking the new features which are being added to the product. We are testing that in the sanity testing.
Okay, I think you have the experience on that unit testing, right?
Yeah.
Did you check the unit testing or not?
Unit testing, mostly it is done by the developers. We start from the integration testing.
Just now you say like that I have experience on the unit testing. When you are going to
no, that is because that is a part of the testing process, but that is ideally done by the developers.
Okay, you basically you have or not?
I don't have on the unit testing.
Okay. What is the do you have any experience with the client? Directly interact with the client or not?
Yes, I do have directly interaction with the client, presenting report to the client, preparing report for the client.
Directly you report to the client or you directly report to PO or Scrum Master?
No, in my previous project, I have done that as well, like reporting to the client directly with the reports.
Okay. Directly you put the report to my client, but you didn't, in that you didn't mention the CC manager, test lead manager, didn't mention or mention?
No, it is like a common meeting where everyone will be there, including the customer.
Okay. What is the retrospective meeting?
The retrospective meeting is like a feedback meeting where after the end of the sprint, we'll be discussing with that what we have achieved, what could have been done better to improve our things, what are the blockers we have experienced, and what are the bugs we are going to take from here for the next sprints.
Okay. What are the drawbacks of the prototype model?
Prototype, that is very much rigid. It doesn't provide you flexibility in changing the requirements.
Okay. Can we use the prototype model for the larger projects or not?
Sorry, sir, for the
Can
loss of?
we larger projects?
No, I don't think so, because it creates more complexity and the requirements are rigid at the requirement stage itself. So it's better to go for the agile.
Okay, cool. So, what is your challenges? What are the challenges you are faced in the software testing? Please tell to me.
The one of the challenges in the real-time scenario that when we were not having any manager or any senior member to, when there was a bug, we were not able to identify whether it's a real bug, because developers were denying on it, and we were not having any manager or anyone available there. So at that time we found a challenge, and then we finally approached the BA to get that issue resolved.
Okay, okay, cool. So, do you have any experience on that API testing?
Yes, I have an API testing using Postman tool.
Where exactly we are using the API testing? It is required to use or not?
API testing we are using at the business logic layer.
Okay, can you briefly explain about that API testing? Where exactly we are using?
Okay, sure. So actually in API testing, we are completely excluding the GUI part. We will be requesting from the API and we will be getting response in the API. So we are making sure that it is directly interacting with the database. We don't have to go to the UI. We are just completely checking at the GUI part, at the API part itself.
Okay. So I think API testing, database testing, both are same, right?
API testing, database is just a backend testing where you will make sure that the response request is going there. In case if we are sending a request from the API, then we have to go and check to the database. Yes, if the query is coming there, we are getting the entries there. If you are making a delete request from the API, then we have to make sure and we have to check from the database whether the entry has been deleted or not.
Okay. What is the status codes of the 404?
404 is that for the page not found. That is a normal term, but in technical term, we can tell you that 404 means if the resource is not available on the server.
Okay. What is the status code of the 401?
401 is for the authorization. When there is no authorization process has been done, then we get that.
Authorization or unauthorization?
For unauthorized means authorization has to be done there.
And 204?
204.
Yes.
204. I didn't get this error. I have never got this error in my process.
503. Status code of the 503?
503 is for internal server error, where it is like server is not able to respond to the client.
Okay. Do you have any experience on that security testing?
Security testing, I do have some basic knowledge, but that is not in the professional experience. I do have some basic learning in that.
Okay. Okay, cool. So do you have any experience on the database testing?
Yes, I do have.
Why we are using the database testing? Please tell me.
We are making sure, we need to make sure that the entry that we are putting should also go in the database. It should be there. Otherwise, no point in saving the data. And like for an example, if I'm a user, I registered myself to the application. If my entry is not going to the database, so every time the user has to create the request again and again, it won't be saved to the database.
Are you using any queries, Suresh?
Yes, mostly the select queries.
Only select query you are using, or you
mostly
have
the select queries? Mostly the select queries.
How many queries are there?
It comes under the data query language. So in that we have query SQL. In SQL we have data query language. In that we give select query.
Yeah. Okay. How many queries are there? Yes, DML. Okay. How many queries are there? In case we have one data, we are going to add update. So that time what you are doing?
We'll be using update query.
Yeah, just wait. Yeah. So, do you have any knowledge on automation testing space?
Automation also, I have some basic learning, but on the professional level, I don't have experience on that.
Okay. So, what are the basic level? Please tell me.
Basic level means I know how to find the XPath. I know how to find the CSS. Yeah.
Okay.
These
How many locators are there?
They mean like we have in the locators, like we have ID, we have the
Okay.
name,
Okay.
we have the class.
Okay.
Yeah. We
Do
have
you
the group.
know? Do you have any awareness on the frameworks?
I'm still in the learning phase of that. I like a test engine is a framework which I'm learning.
Okay. Do you have any experience on the performance testing?
Performance testing, I don't have any professional experience. Mostly I have worked on the API, functional, and the database testing.
What is the informal testing?
Informal testing, like where we are just going through the application without making any documentation, without any planning, and we will checking the application as a user's perspective.
Okay. Formal testing?
Formal testing, where we'll be documenting in each and every phase, like planning, then we have designing, then we have testing. Everything will be documented. That is a formal process, and we will be following that.
Okay. Once you explain about that, what you have the experience, please explain about your previous projects.
Okay, so I'll start with my previous project. That okay, currently I'm working as a software test engineer for the Uttar Pradesh Power Corporation Limited project. And here my role is to check the functional testing and the API testing and the backend testing. And in my previous project where I worked there, I got the chance with the tools like Jenkins, Jira, that was networking based tool. I was working as a regression test engineer in that project.
Okay, please tell what is the architecture of your project?
Architecture, like for the current project, it is a project for which it's a power utility domain project.
Okay.
Where the customer can come and they can request for the new connection, they can come for the reconnection, disconnection, bill payment. For the many activities, they can come to the portal and they can perform their task. And about my previous project, it was like a virtual router project. It was a China-based project where we have to check the VMs which are prepared over the server, and we have to check the configuration and check the connectivity, and there were multiple scenarios inside that.
Okay. So in case I want to, I didn't use the 10 days of power. So that time, what is the scenario you are going to do? I'm going to outside. That time I didn't use the power, right? So that time, what is the scenario you are doing?
In that, the customer can come and raise a request for the disconnection for the request for the number of days he's not available.
Okay. Is there any payment option, or it can be other free slots?
Yeah, for that the customer has to opt the option, and accordingly the billing will be made for only for the days he has used the power.
Okay. Okay. So do you have any queries?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Suresh. And all the best for your future. I will get back to you. Okay.
Sure.